They told you aging would come with gray hairs, maybe stiff knees, a few memory lapses. But no one warned you about this. No one warned you that one day, your dad, the man who used to fix everything around the house, would sit on the toilet for 30 minutes, not because something's wrong with his stomach, but because he can't figure out how to clean himself properly. No one tells you how awkward it feels to see your mom, who once reminded you to wash your hands, now secretly hiding soiled clothes because she couldn't reach, or couldn't see, or simply couldn't move the way she used to. This isn't about weakness. This is about the silent struggles older adults face when no one's watching. It's about the fear of asking for help with something so private, so personal, that they'd rather suffer quietly than admit they're overwhelmed. And here's what makes it harder: most families have no idea what's happening, until there's a rash, an odor, a fall, or a deep emotional withdrawal. Bathroom hygiene sounds small. But in reality, it's the difference between feeling like a capable adult, and feeling like a burden. That's why this conversation matters. In this video, we're not just talking about hygiene, we're talking about preserving dignity, protecting independence, and helping aging loved ones feel human again. You're about to discover 4 practical, safer, and much easier ways seniors can clean themselves after toileting, without embarrassment, without pain, and without relying entirely on someone else. These aren't complicated fixes. They're simple tools, routines, and smart little changes that most people don't even know exist, but they can completely change daily life for someone you love. And if you're walking this journey as a caregiver, or preparing for your own future, these 4 solutions will give you both peace of mind and practical relief. Comment, "I understand," if this hits close to home. And if this is the kind of real, helpful advice you've been needing, hit subscribe. This is Elder Talks Daily, and together, we're rewriting the way aging is experienced, one honest conversation at a time. Let's get into it. Let's begin with something surprisingly simple, yet often overlooked. 1. Use toilet wipes on a wand. Ms. Clara is 79. She lives alone, loves to knit, and still bakes those famous coconut cakes for the church fundraiser every year. But lately, her family noticed something odd. She stopped attending Sunday service. Stopped going to bingo night. Even her grandkids' school plays, she'd suddenly cancel last minute. It wasn't until her grandson stayed over for the weekend that the truth slipped out. She whispered it, embarrassed, almost in tears. She'd been having accidents. Not because of incontinence, but because her arms just didn't reach anymore. The pain in her shoulder. The stiffness in her back. Something as basic as wiping had become an impossible task. Now here's what most people don't realize: you don't need to be wheelchair-bound to struggle in the bathroom. Even mild arthritis, a recent fall, or hip stiffness from aging joints can turn a simple twist and reach into a painful, humiliating effort. This is where a toilet wiping aid, often just called a wand, can become life-changing. It's not fancy. It doesn't need batteries or an app. It's just a simple extension tool that holds pre-moistened wipes or soft tissue securely, so that someone can clean themselves thoroughly without bending, twisting, or straining. But here's the catch: many older adults avoid asking for it because they think, "Oh no, that's for really disabled people. I'm not there yet." That mindset. It's exactly what keeps them in silent suffering. Truth is, these tools aren't for the severely disabled. They're for anyone who wants to stay independent longer. They're for people like Ms. Clara, who just need a little help, without giving up their privacy. So if you're a caregiver, keep one in the bathroom, where it's easy to grab and clean. And if you're aging yourself and you've noticed wiping is getting harder, you owe it to your comfort and dignity to give this tool a try. Make sure to choose one with a non-slip, ergonomic grip. Soft, flexible ends are best, they're gentler on aging skin. And pair it with flushable, hypoallergenic wipes designed for sensitive areas. Cleanup becomes easier, faster, and, more importantly, less stressful. Now, Let's say the challenge isn't just reaching. What if mobility is limited? Or what if twisting, holding tissue, and aiming just right is still too difficult? Well, that's where hands-free options come in. And the next one might surprise you. Now, imagine if you didn't have to reach, twist, or even use your hands at all. Sounds too good to be true, right? But it's not science fiction. It's just a better way of doing something we all do, every single day. Let's move to something that's changing lives in small bathrooms all around the world. 2. Install a bidet attachment or handheld sprayer. Mr. Al-Haji is 83. A retired postmaster, proud father of 4, and he still folds his socks like he's on military inspection duty. But ever since his stroke, balance hasn't been his strong suit. He can walk with a cane, sure. But standing up, twisting, and cleaning himself after using the toilet? That's when accidents started to happen. His daughter noticed the wet spots on his boxers while doing laundry. She didn't say anything, just hugged him a little tighter that day. But the next morning, she installed something that would quietly change his daily routine forever. A bidet attachment. Simple. Discreet. Inexpensive. But oh, what a difference it made. Instead of struggling to wipe. Instead of risking a fall while trying to clean himself. Now, all it takes is the push of a lever or the squeeze of a handheld sprayer, and he's clean, dry, and confident again. Let me be clear, bidets aren't some luxury reserved for fancy hotels. They're practical hygiene tools that reduce skin irritation, eliminate the need for rough toilet paper, and remove the physical strain that makes toileting so risky for older adults. Here's what makes it beautiful. They can be attached to any standard toilet, and many don't even need electricity. You can get a basic one for under $30. Some have warm water options, adjustable pressure, even angled nozzles for better comfort and control. Yet people still hesitate. Why? Because there's a myth that bidets are too complicated or too foreign. But in reality, they are one of the most dignified and effortless solutions for aging hygiene struggles. And the best part? They give back something most tools can't. Freedom. When you don't have to ask someone to come wipe you. When you don't have to dread using the bathroom in public or at a friend's house. You start living again. You leave the house. You laugh more. You breathe easier. So whether you're a caregiver, or you're planning for your own aging journey, a bidet could be one of the best gifts you ever give, or receive. But maybe you're thinking, what if I can't even get to the toilet in time? What if standing, lowering, or cleaning just isn't safe anymore, bidet or not? Then it's time we talk about something just as important. And perhaps even more underrated. Because what's coming next? It's something that turns a scary, slippery bathroom into a safe space again. Let's go deeper. Because for some people, it's not just about the wiping. It's about the whole process, getting to the toilet in time, sitting without pain, standing without falling, and yes, cleaning up safely after. That's why our next method isn't just a hygiene solution, it's a dignity-preserving game-changer. 3. Use toilet safety frames or commode chairs with cleaning features. Now picture this, Mrs. Uchenna is 76. A retired teacher who once ran a classroom full of second graders like a drill sergeant, but with a heart of gold. Then came the hip replacement. Then the walker. And soon, a growing fear of using her own bathroom. Why? Because getting on and off the toilet seat felt like jumping off a cliff. Her knees would buckle. Her arms couldn't support her weight anymore. And the worst part? Once she finally managed to sit down, she couldn't clean herself. The twisting was painful. The seat was too low. She even slipped once reaching for toilet paper. Thankfully, she wasn't hurt. But emotionally, she broke a little that day. Her daughter, seeing the growing fear in her mother's eyes, installed a toilet safety frame, with raised arms, non-slip grips, and the right height. And just like that, the danger was cut in half. Then she went a step further. She introduced a commode chair, the kind that sits right beside the bed, with built-in support and easy-to-clean features. Some even come with rinsing functions, removable basins, and soft close lids to keep everything neat and discreet. Now, here's what makes this powerful: a safety frame helps those who still want to use their home toilet, adding stability and confidence. A commode chair. That's for seniors who may not always make it to the bathroom, but still want to clean up without assistance. And yet again, we bump into a painful misconception: that's for people who are bedridden. I'm not there yet. But here's the truth: these tools aren't about how sick you are. They're about how safe, clean, and independent you want to be. They prevent injuries. They reduce caregiver burnout. And they give back one of the most sacred things in old age: privacy. So don't wait for a fall. Don't wait for an accident or an infection to make you reconsider. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is prepare before you're desperate. Because when toileting becomes a scary task, people don't just risk physical pain. They start skipping meals to avoid going. They get dehydrated. They isolate themselves out of fear and shame. But we're not going to let that happen to your loved ones. Not if we can help it. And for our final method, we're going to keep it really simple. Because not everyone wants tools. Not everyone has the space for equipment. Sometimes, it's about what you use, not what you install. And the next tip. It's soft, gentle, mess-free, and it might just be the most underused solution of them all. Let's bring it back to basics. Because not everyone wants to install something. Not everyone can afford a new device, or even has space for extra equipment in their bathroom. And that's okay. Sometimes, what matters most is finding something simple that works. For use, no rinse cleansing foam or perineal wash. Now I want to tell you about Mr. Musa. He's 81, lives in a modest flat, and prides himself on doing things on his own. But he started itching. He didn't say anything for weeks. Just scratched. Wiped. Scratched again. Eventually, the redness showed up. Then the smell. Then the silence got louder. He was trying. He really was. But the toilet paper was too rough. And water? Too far. Too cold. Too much effort. He didn't need another gadget. He needed something gentler. Something easier. That's when his daughter brought him a bottle of no-rinse cleansing foam. No soap. No water. No towel. Just pump it, wipe gently, and feel fresh again. It wasn't a luxury, it was a lifeline. You see, these foams are designed for delicate skin. They're pH balanced. They clean without stripping the skin or leaving residue behind. Some even have aloe or chamomile built in, soothing, calming, healing. And the best part? No rinsing. No running water. No complicated instructions. Just dignity, in a bottle. Now here's where people get it wrong. They think, if I'm not bedridden, I don't need that. Or, wipes are enough, right? But wipes alone can cause friction, especially for seniors with dry or sensitive skin. And when wiping becomes painful, most just stop altogether. That's when infections begin. That's when rashes form. That's when hygiene goes out the window. So here's what you do. Keep a bottle of no-rinse perineal cleanser next to the toilet. Pair it with ultra-soft disposable cloths or reusable washcloths. And teach your loved one how to use it, with love, not judgment. Because sometimes, it's not that they can't clean themselves. It's that everything around them has become too harsh. You'd be amazed what a little foam and kindness can do. Now, we've talked about tools. We've talked about sprays, frames, wands, and foams. But underneath all of this, there's a deeper story. A story that plays out in millions of homes every day. Let's talk about that next. Because if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not alone. And if you're feeling heartbroken by what aging is doing to someone you love, this next part is just for you. Let's pause for a moment. Because beneath all the tools, all the gadgets, all the clever tips, there's something heavier. Something that doesn't fit neatly on a shelf or come with an instruction manual. And that's the emotional weight of it all. Watching someone you love struggle with something so private, so basic, so tied to their identity. It hurts. It's one thing to help a parent open a jar, or remind them to take their pills. But wiping them after the toilet, that's the kind of help no one prepares you for. It's uncomfortable. It's personal. And it leaves you questioning, am I doing too much? Or not enough? And for the seniors themselves, the ones quietly crying in the bathroom, or hiding soiled laundry like a secret, it's even worse. Because when you've lived decades taking care of everyone else, admitting that you now need help to wipe yourself, that's a kind of grief most people never talk about. But let me tell you this, needing help does not mean you failed. And offering help does not mean you're taking away their independence. You're giving them something far more powerful: comfort, dignity, peace. You're creating a space where shame doesn't get the final say, where fear doesn't control daily routines, where silence doesn't grow into suffering. And if no one has told you this yet, if you're a caregiver, a daughter, a son, a nurse, a neighbor, you're doing something beautiful. Something sacred. You're standing in the gap. You're saying, I see you. You still matter. You're still you. So yes, aging brings challenges. But with the right knowledge, with a few thoughtful tools, and with a whole lot of compassion, you can transform toileting from a fearful, dreaded event into something that simply works, quietly, privately, and respectfully. Because in the end, this isn't just about staying clean. It's about preserving humanity in one of its most vulnerable forms. Now, if this conversation stirred something in you, if you're sitting there thinking of someone you love, or even your future self, then stay with me for just one more moment. Because the next thing I'm about to say might be exactly what you've been needing to hear. You didn't find this video by accident. Something brought you here. Maybe it was a quiet worry you've carried for months. Maybe it was a conversation you've been avoiding. Or maybe you just knew there had to be a better way to care, for your loved one, or even for yourself. Whatever the reason, I want you to know this: you are not alone. You are not the only person trying to figure out how to help your aging mother keep her dignity. You are not the only son watching his once strong father quietly shrink into shame. And if you are the one aging, and struggling silently behind closed doors, I want to tell you something from the heart: you are not broken. You are not a burden. And you deserve to feel clean, respected, and cared for, every single day. So what can you do right now? Start small. Maybe it's ordering that wiping wand. Maybe it's installing a bidet. Maybe it's just having a quiet, loving conversation with someone who's been struggling silently. Be proactive. Don't wait for the fall. Don't wait for the smell. Don't wait for the dignity to fade before you act. A little prevention today can protect a lifetime of confidence. Be gentle. This is a sensitive topic. No one wants to feel like a child again. So speak with empathy. Offer tools, not pity. And always, always protect their sense of choice. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about toileting. It's about how we love people through aging. It's about building a world where growing old doesn't mean losing your identity. And if you've made it this far into the video, that tells me you care. It tells me you're willing to learn, to do better, to lead with heart. So from all of us here at Elder Talks Daily, thank you. Thank you for being the kind of person who shows up. Thank you for valuing wisdom, compassion, and real solutions. Let's do a quick recap before you go. We talked about 4 easier ways to stay clean after toileting, using a toilet wiping wand for safe, strain-free hygiene. Installing a bidet attachment or handheld sprayer for hands-free comfort. Using toilet safety frames or commode chairs for added support and independence. And embracing no-rinse cleansing foam for gentle, mess-free personal care. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these have you tried? Or is there something else that's worked for your family? Drop a comment below. You might just help someone else going through the same thing. And if this video gave you clarity, gave you comfort, or just made you feel a little less alone, give it a like. Hit that subscribe button. And join our growing community of families and caregivers here on Elder Talks Daily, where we age with wisdom, strength, and heart. Thanks for watching. Stay strong. Stay informed. And as always, take care of one another. I'll see you in the next one.